Good afternoon. My name is Misty, and I will be your conference operator today. At this time, I would like to welcome everyone to the All-Cause Harm Prevention in Nursing Homes, Applying Strategies from the new CMS Change Package. All lines have been placed on mute to prevent any background noise. After the speaker's remarks, there will be a question-and-answer session. If you would like to ask a question during this time, simply press star then the number 1 on your telephone keypad. If you would like to withdraw your question, press the pound key. Thank you. I would now like to turn the call over to our host, Dr. Adrienne Mihalik, Program Manager for the National Nursing Home Quality Improvement Campaign. Ma'am, you may begin.
Thank you, Misty. Welcome, everyone. This event is part of an occasional series hosted by the campaign to share great ideas and best practices. If you've joined us by phone only, please check the reminder email you received yesterday for a link to the slides, and also a reminder that the lines are on mute and the call is being recorded. Slide. The campaign, which many of you know as Advancing Excellence, provides long-term care organizations, consumers and their advocates, and quality improvement professionals with free, easy access to evidence-based and model practice resources, such as the All-Cause Harm Prevention Change Package we'll hear about today. Slide. The campaign is unique in providing tools that support your data-driven quality improvement projects. These include workbooks to help you capture data and a variety of options to get ready-made charts and trends to monitor your project and engage your team and community. Our resources are grouped around a set of priority improvement goals, and this spring we'll be launching an online feature to track and trend your own measures. We have a fully staffed help desk to provide assistance with any aspect of your project, and we can also set up group accounts. So please, check us out at www.nhqualitycampaign.org, www.nhqualitycampaign.org, and you'll find that URL in the chat box. What we are collectively learning is that quality care is both defined by and arises from the path we use to get there. Honoring individuals' preferences, empowering staff, and involving all staff, consumers, and leadership in creating a culture of continuous quality improvement. You'll find those values evident throughout the campaign. As we step into the heart of this event, I'd like to share with you all that we've had a record number of registrants for an event of this kind. It is encouraging to see this groundswell of interest for such an important topic. Thank you for being here. We have a wonderful agenda ahead. For those of you who may have missed the housekeeping at the top of the hour, phones will be on mute through the presentation and panel discussion, and then we'll open the line for questions and sharing. If you've joined by phone only, please check the reminder email you received yesterday for a link to the slides. And again, we encourage you to use the chat box on the right of your screen to share and ask questions. Slide. With that in mind, we welcome you to take a break from your other activities and be fully present for the rest of the hour. We hope that you'll hear new ideas, perhaps some that challenge assumptions or maybe reignite some old ideas. This discussion is for you. So grab your notepad, start your lists, action items, questions for our presenters and panelists, and one for a story you might share, either on this call or with your team, as we help each other along this journey. Slide. To kick us off, it's my pleasure to introduce Angel Davis. Ms. Davis holds an MS, MBA, BSN, and is a registered nurse. She's held a number of positions with CMS, including working on Medicare program integrity, as a pharmacy senior policy analyst for Medicaid, and now serves as the CMS subject matter expert for the Quality Improvement Organization program's long-term care work. In this role, she's responsible for overseeing the Quality Innovation Network Quality Improvement Organization, QINQ-IO, activities with long-term care providers. She provided oversight to the NCC in the development of the change package and was a member of the technical evaluation panel for this project. In addition to all of that, Angel keeps a foot in the field, working weekends as an emergency department access case manager. Angel, thank you for being here and thank you for introducing the program for us.
Thanks, Adrian, and greetings to all of you on the call. I want to thank you all for participating today. We are excited to make this new resource, a change package for nursing homes on all-cause harm prevention, available to you. As part of CMS's focus on raising awareness of nursing home safety and to support safer nursing home care across the nation, CMS asked the Quality Innovation Network National Coordinating Center to identify high-performing nursing homes with promising practices related to all-cause harm and to gather information on their practices in order to share with all nursing homes across the country. The National Coordinating Center supports CMS and Quality Innovation Network, quality improvement organizations across the country to carry out the QIO program goals, which includes a very important focus on nursing home quality and safety. We hope you find this change package to be a valuable resource to support you in continuous improvement efforts to keep residents safe while honoring each resident's rights and preferences. I would like to acknowledge and thank the nursing home teams that may be on the call today, those who participated in this initiative and development of this resource, and those that will use this resource to improve the quality of life through safer care for the 1.4 million nursing home residents across the country. I would also like to thank any other long-term care partner and stakeholder and organizations that are on the call today. We appreciate your work to help align and coordinate efforts, resources, and tools to prevent harm to nursing home residents. We are all committed to improving long-term care quality and safety, and on behalf of CMS, thank you in advance for your support of this resource. And thank you, Adrian and the campaign team, for hosting this call today. Back to you, Adrian.
Angel, thank you. If you don't know her already, it's my special treat to introduce you to Kelly O'Neill. Kelly is a national leader in healthcare performance improvement focused on improving the quality of care and quality of life for people living and working in nursing homes. Kelly is a registered nurse, holds a master's degree in public administration, and is a certified professional in healthcare quality. She's taught continuous quality improvement at the graduate level and serves on AHRQ's technical expert panel for surveys on patient safety culture. This background and Kelly's extensive experience assessing and improving organizational processes and systems is a great asset to us all in her role with the CMS Quality Innovation Network National Coordinating Center, where she provides leadership for quality improvement and safety activities in nursing homes across the country. In addition to the All-Cause Harm Prevention Change Package, Kelly has worked with the QAPI National Demonstration Project to create QAPI resources for nursing homes, developed a series of 6 online learning modules for nursing homes on implementing antibiotic stewardship and preventing C. difficile infections, and developed a facility self-assessment tool. If you're starting to wonder where to get these goodies, and they are terrific, we have a slide with the resources at the end of this deck. Can we maybe chat the link for that slide deck again? And Kelly, I'm passing the ball to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Adrian, and good afternoon, everyone. It is a pleasure to be with you all today. I will talk for a few minutes about why and how we developed a change package, its purpose, and what is in it. And then we'll talk with 3 leaders from a couple of the nursing homes that participated in this initiative to develop the change package. So why did we develop this? In 2014, 2 key reports were published by the Office of Inspector General. The links to the reports are on this slide, and I am on slide 8 for those of you joining by phone only. And I will share a few findings from each report. One report focused on adverse events occurring in post-acute care provided in skilled nursing facilities. The OIG found that an estimated 33% of Medicare beneficiaries experienced adverse events, or temporary harm events during their S&F stays. And physician reviewers determined that 59% of these events were clearly or likely preventable. Over half of the residents who experienced harm returned to a hospital for treatment. So because many of these events were preventable, a recommendation was made for CMS to raise awareness of nursing home safety and to seek to reduce resident harm. The second report focused on compliance with federal regulation for reporting allegations of abuse or neglect. The OIG found that 85% of nursing facilities reported at least one allegation of abuse or neglect, and that was in 2012. And that 53% of allegations were reported as federally required. So we were seeing some underreporting. This report highlighted the need for improvement in reporting of allegations of abuse or neglect, and of course the need to prevent abuse and neglect. To support nursing homes in reducing the prevalence of harm, CMS tasked our team, as Angel shared, with developing a change package focused on all-cause harm prevention. The purpose of this change package is to identify and share practices that prevent harm and to share those practices with nursing homes across the country. It is meant to serve as a key resource for all of you to support nursing homes in their quality improvement efforts. So to provide assistance in choosing strategies and actions to begin testing for purposes of preventing harm. So how was the change package developed? And I am on slide 12. Briefly, we conducted a literature review to learn more about the types of harms occurring in nursing homes. And next, we established an analytic algorithm and vetting process to identify nursing homes eligible for a site visit. We were looking for high-performing nursing homes in order to learn from them about what they're doing to prevent, detect, and mitigate all causes of harm to residents. We selected and visited 9 nursing homes, and we used a qualitative, appreciative inquiry approach to gather information from them. At each site, we interviewed leaders, staff members, clinicians, consultants, and residents, and we asked them to describe their approaches, strategies, and actions to prevent harm while honoring each resident's rights and preferences. At the end of a 2-day site visit, we held a debrief meeting to summarize and clarify what we heard. After the site visits were complete, we used an expert panel to develop a change package compiled from the site visit findings. Here is a map on slide 13 showing the locations of the homes that we visited. To identify and select high-performing nursing homes, we relied pretty heavily on the CMS 5-star quality rating system, looking at both the overall rating and individual components of the rating and selected quality measures. We then selected eligible homes that varied in bed size, in geographic location, rural and urban status, ownership status, and profit status. The cover of the change package is shown on this slide, slide 14, and the link for the electronic version of the change package that is available on the QIO program website is also on this slide, qioprogram.org. The change package is focused on successful practices of high-performing nursing homes. It includes strategies and actions ranging from evidence-based practices to promising practices determined to be worthy of testing by clinical and other long-term care experts in the nursing homes that we visited. The information applies to both short-term and long-term residents. The intended audience for the change package includes nursing homes in the National Nursing Home Quality Care Collaborative. The collaboratives are led in each state by CMS and the QIN quality improvement organizations across the country. And it's also intended for anyone interested in improving safety in nursing homes. They can review the information and use that for quality improvement purposes to get ideas for what others are doing to successfully prevent, detect, and mitigate harm. In the next 2 slides, I'll talk about the content in the change package and how it is organized. After the introduction, we start by first describing 4 overarching foundational components that high-performing nursing homes focus on to achieve the aim of improved quality of life for residents through safe, reliable, quality care. A strong commitment to these 4 components fosters a culture that supports staff to be able to reliably implement timely and quality care practices, again, while honoring each resident's rights and preferences. The foundational components are leadership, committed staff, teamwork and communication, resident and family engagement, and continuous learning and quality improvement. The model shown here, I'm on slide 17, was developed from what we learned from the high-performing homes, and it displays the 4 foundational components that I just mentioned, and shows how those components, set the stage for staff to be able to reliably implement timely quality care practices, honoring residents' rights and preferences. And this is all in order to meet the goal shown as the heart or center of the model of improved resident quality of life through safe care. Strategies and action items are provided in the change package for each of these components. Next, the change package includes strategies and actions to prevent the specific categories and types of events and harms identified by the OIG. On this slide, slide 18, you can see the clinical categories and types of events identified by the OIG. We organized the change package by the categories that the OIG identified. So events related to medication, events related to resident care, and events related to infections. And we also included a section on abuse prevention. We provide information for each of the specific types of adverse events in each category. For each type of event, we include the following components. Staff education topics to consider, pre-admission practices, so what can be done even before the resident arrives, actions to take on admission and throughout the resident's stay, and finally, resources that might be helpful. Here's an example on slide 20, I know it's very hard to read, of how the information in the change package is presented for events related to excessive bleeding due to medication, specifically antithrombotics. This one is fairly short, some are a bit longer. And the change package also includes 4 appendices that are listed on slide 21. So hopefully that has provided just a little bit of background for you on the change package, and that's hoping that you will go take a look at it if you have not already had a chance to look at that. Next, we are so fortunate to have 3 panelists with us today, 3 leaders from 2 of the homes that work with us to develop the change package. And I will share a brief background for each panelist, sharing just a few of their accomplishments, activities, and awards. Lena Duressa is the administrator for Hughes Health and Rehabilitation in West Hartford, Connecticut. Lena is a nurse with experience working in both acute care and long-term care. She's been in the long-term care field for 20 years. Lena is a certified director of nursing and long-term care, as well as fellow in the Academy of Certified Directors of Nursing Administration. She's a licensed nursing home administrator and a certified trainer for the National Council of Certified Dementia Practitioners. In 2015, Lena received the Northeast Region Nurse Administrator Award and the prestigious Madonna National Nurse Administrator of the Year Award. She has led her team at Hughes to win the ACAHA NCAL Gold Quality Award in 2016. Also on the panel, and with us today from Hughes, is Sandra Denal-Nevin. Sandra has been contributing to promotion of excellence in healthcare since 1994 and brings a colorful background of experience in various industries, from retail to banking, inpatient and outpatient direct nursing care to clinical and non-clinical management, as well as medical coding and data management for quality assessment and reporting, which she applies daily in promoting excellence in care. Sandra is a certified resident assessment coordinator. Among her achievements, Sandra was a recipient of the Hartford Regional Nightingale Awards for Excellence in Nursing in 2016. And across the country, we also have with us today Linda Dorado. Linda's with the Phoenix Mountain Nursing Center in Phoenix, Arizona. Linda has been working in some form of nursing since the age of 16 as a CNA with a starting pay of $3.75 an hour. She obtained her LPN and currently holds a BSN. She credits her father with urging her to continue her education. She's been working as a DON for the last 7 years of her career, and caring for others is her passion. So over the next series of slides, we will ask our panelists to respond to a set of questions. These are questions that have come up since we publicly released the change package a few weeks ago. And after our panelists respond to these questions, we then will open the discussion for comments and questions from all of you on the line. For those of you on the WebEx, please also feel free to enter comments or questions in chat too. So our first question, and we're going to start with you, Lena. How would you go about reviewing this change package? It's a fairly large document. It's about 60 pages, including 4 appendices. So how would you tackle it? How would you look at it and consider how would it help you to identify opportunities, and how would you go about prioritizing changes? What might that look like in your organization when a new resource such as this comes out?
Hello, good afternoon, and this is Lena, and thank you for having me and Sandra in this conference. To answer that question, if I were to implement the change package, I will go to my leadership team first, which means all of my department heads. I will explain our opportunity for improvement by making changes on things that negatively impact our operation. I will then ask them to read the change package within a time frame and set a date for the next meeting for discussion, since there's quite a bit to read in the package. With our next meeting, I will guide everyone to analyze areas of improvement and prioritize what needs to be done first, based on the assessment that we have done in the past, as well as what the package offers. And maybe simultaneously, I will be looking at who has the capability, perseverance, and passion to see us get to the finish line. At this point in time, I will probably change the language from I to we, because then the project will be all ours. We will then discuss logistics such as approach, deployment, frequency of measurement, reporting, and evaluation that we need to do. We will discuss and celebrate our success, but we will also discuss our barriers and detours so we could gain knowledge from both and know what to avoid next time. Recognizing the contribution of everyone, whether it will be big or small. And if this project is sustained, then we will move on to the next project. So communication is very, very important as we walk through the journey. Every step of the way, when we implement, we have to stop, see what we are doing. Are we doing it right? Do we need to detour? Do we need a new approach? And then move on as, with a focus that we would like to reach that goal of the change that we would like to happen in our building.
Thank you, Lena. Sounds like you would approach it in a very structured and thoughtful way. Linda, what would you add to that? How would you go about reviewing and perhaps implementing some of a change package like this in your organization?
Basically, I review one section at a time, look at to see what the priority that it may fit at my facility, And then I present that to the CAPI team, which is mostly our management team, and we discuss what we may already have in place and then what we could do to improve our process in that area.
Okay, thank you, Linda. So both of you, it sounds like, would review looking for priorities and, of course, involving your teams along the way. Our next question, Lena, I'm going to turn to you again for this one, and you mentioned this in your previous response, but what are some of the barriers that you know would come up as you were asking your team to review the change package and be thinking about opportunities for improvement and prioritizing changes? What are some of those barriers you know would come up, and how would you work through those with your staff?
Well, there are really a lot of barriers that I could think of because our industry is changing so rapidly. We actually do feel that we just master one and then we have to change again and learn something different. So time, number one, is our biggest challenge. And having enough time, it is very important that the team communicates the hardships and the goals so that we will be able to help each other and, as you said earlier, rescue each other so that we will get to our goals. And again, the commitment of the team. I think we define commitment within ourselves here as making time when there is no time coming. So the commitment of leadership is very important. And the leadership to actually really set the tone that no matter how hard it is, we need to be where we need to be. And the more cohesive our group is, the better our chance for accomplishing something. And then training. Training, is also who will be the trainer, who is most qualified, most capable, and whether or not we could replace the person who needs to train when the training comes. So, substituting someone's responsibility so that we are not giving up something in trying to achieve something. And money is tight in the long-term care setting. So money, again, is an issue because of overtime. There are times when in order for you to teach well, you need to pull them out from the situation or from what they are doing so that we would be able to really drill down the change that you would like them to understand and to undertake. So, and staffing changes. We train everyone and we're done training that person and there is a better opportunity someplace else and the person leaves, so you need to retrain somebody else. So cross-training of staff, sharing responsibilities, are some of the ways that we were able to do in order for us to meet the barriers.
Thank you. That was a nice overview of some of the barriers that are certainly common across organizations, and appreciate hearing how you approach those to work through those. Thank you, Lena.
You're welcome.
Our next question is for Sandra. We often hear from organizations, and Lena just mentioned it too, that you have so many priorities, so many requirements, so much going on. How do you see the change package, or do you see the information in the change package as being a way to help you to align and work on your other priorities as well? So what are your thoughts about that?
Thank you. I do see it as actually a tool that can help us, that is in fact aligned with the other things that we have in our foci. So if you really think about it, what we're saying, we say we want to prevent harm, when we're using this change package, is that we really want to promote quality care. And isn't that really what QAPI is about? So if you take QAPI, for example, it has a tenet of leadership and governance. Leadership can set the tone, engage staff, engage the stakeholders, engage the families and residents if necessary, so that we can have everyone on the same page with the mission, the vision, and weaving in that need for a culture of safety. So that's a part of the QAPI process and application. It also allows us to identify areas of improvement. So the change package is not giving us something different from that. It's just showing us where we might have overlooked something, perhaps, or how we can identify that there's a gap. If you take, for example, the new requirement for the medication reconciliation as part of the requirement of participation, that is a heavy piece of legislation, and regulations can be burdensome. But when leadership shows how these regulations are of benefit in promoting a culture of safety, how it actually fits into the plan for the organization, then that opens up communication, innovation, collaboration. And so now you could perhaps get your IT team or person of department with your nursing department together. They can put together something that works for the electronic record. So it's not a burden to nursing and direct care staff, but that they can still have the time they need to spend in direct care versus fumbling around with an with an ER system. So again, I really feel that the change package is in fact well aligned with all of the projects and the ideas that we have, and a great condensed, usable tool with actionable information that can keep us on focus.
Thank you so much, Sandra. Appreciate your view on how this is actually part of QAPI and how it can be helpful. All right, our next question, Linda, wondering if you could answer this one. So, what do you see as being different about this, or why would folks might want to pick it up and go through it? Is it new information? We've heard from one person that thought, well, I think we basically have all of this in other places already. So what are your thoughts about that? What might be different, or what might be helpful about the information that's organized in this way in this change package?
I think the change package is a great resource. It takes all that information and takes out information that maybe is not as important and puts it all in one place for easier access. You're able to open up this change package and go to, say, the section on abuse. You can look through there and say, am I doing everything I possibly can to prevent harm to our patients, and take that information and say what you're doing right and add some things that maybe another facility may be doing to help you out. It's helpful because it's just laid out right there in front of you and gives you the steps that you can follow to make your facility compliant and up there is the 5 stars with the rest.
Great. Thank you, Linda.
You're welcome.
Okay, here's a question that I think all of us struggle with, and that is sometimes when we are able to make some positive changes, so we are able to go through a change management process and have our staff on board and following new processes or systems, but it's in our human nature that oftentimes if we quit paying attention to a certain area that we tend to slip back into old habits or old practices. So how do you promote sustainability in your organization once you have made a change that you think is good for staff and residents and you want it to stick? How do you make that happen? And Lena, I'll ask you to go first on this question, if you would.
I think sometimes when we embrace a project, we feel like this is something new. But if we look at a project as something that could make us better, I think we embrace it better and we do not want to let go of something that is making us better. So when a change is implemented, it is, I believe, very important to make the goal clear. Communicate the goal, and don't move forward unless everybody understands what the goal is and what would be the end result, so that when we know where we would like to be, we will be able to stay focused, encourage each other, and appreciate the hardships that we all go through as we move forward to accomplish what we plan to do. It is very important to the staff to understand that to get to the end, it needs collaborative effort, and it is a journey. And I think leadership should also make it clear that we are in it together. So it is possible that we could make a mistake as we go along, and it should be an educational experience, a teachable moment, rather than a punitive situation, so that there will be more who would like to participate and to learn. I also think that once we put something in place, we need to monitor consistently on schedule. And our expectations should remain at the level agreed upon. We're not going to move our target just because we are moving slow or we are not getting there according to our time frame. I think we need to stick to it to make sure that that quality that we so dream and want to achieve, we will be able to reach it in due time. And I also believe that leaders have a lot of responsibility to keep the staff engaged continuously by setting an example, asking questions about the change package, and show interest to achieve success. It is not just implementing. It is, I think, necessary to be, emotionally focused, sometimes emotionally charged, so that the passion could be seen by the staff. And passion is contagious. So we would like them to see the necessity to get to the end, to enjoy the fruit of the labor that has been put in. So leadership must continue the project until they see the confidence and the capability of the staff to carry on. And I think when that capability is transferred to the front line and everybody talks about it and you could turn around and somebody could volunteer just like what the leader will do, then we will be able to say, we got it. We're successful in implementing a change that will bring about a change in attitude, a change in understanding, educate our families, because some of our families are challenging too. The alarms, for example, we do not use alarms because we believe that if we care plan for our residents and patients, we know what they're going to do, so we don't have to wait for the alarms to go off. Some of our family members will have to say, what do you mean you don't use alarm in your facility? What if Dad will have to fall? So education to the family members. And when family members see that you're talking about something that you are passionate with, it's a little easier for them to buy in to what the facility is doing. So the burden is on the leadership. And I think until such time that everybody embrace the program, you're going to continue to monitor and expect quality.
Thank you, Lena. I think there's a lot of wisdom in what you just shared with us and from our other panelists too. We know that strong leadership involvement is a very strong action. And I think you have given numerous examples of what that looks like and how to do that. And like a lot of what you said about the burden being on leadership to continue these improvement initiatives. Linda, I know that you have also been very successful in your organization with both making changes and sustaining changes. What would you add to this conversation to help others on the phone that are listening today?
As we all know, change is never easy. First, I always try to make my staff comfortable with any changes that are starting to happen with some baby steps by talking about it before it's implemented, so it's kind of in their minds that some changes are going to happen and that we're going to be there with them. I always try to make the goal very clear of what we're working towards, but that also involves being out there with the frontline staff and working through those changes with them so they don't feel like they're alone. I get out there, I help them, I show them what I'm expecting. We monitor the changes. If the changes are not working for, say, our facility, our staff, we make changes, we reassess, we make changes until we all become successful in what we were trying to accomplish. It is definitely a team effort. In order to keep it to stick, we have to make it a part of their everyday routine where they come in, they know what's expected, and it's just something they do. It's not something difficult for them because they do the same thing, the right thing every day. That's all I have.
Thank you, Linda.
You're welcome.
And that's no small task. What I heard in your statements was a lot of focus on that iterative process of change, so those PDA cycles that keep repeating over and over and over again, and you described that very well, so thank you. We have one more question before we open it up to hear from folks on the phone, and this one is for Sandra. How do you balance safety while honoring rights and preference of residents? We know that not all residents prioritize their safety over other goals and values in their life at all times. So it can be challenging to honor residents' preferences and rights while keeping them safe. Please share with us your thoughts about that.
Thank you for allowing me to do that. And you're absolutely right. It is certainly a challenge. And no, not everyone has the same list of priorities that we each individually have. So one thing we have to remember is that goals of care are individual. And that's what bears on their rights. As long as it's not impacting the safety of others, then what can we really do to accommodate is the question. So here's where one of the thoughts in the change package comes in. It talks about having that shared decision-making. And that's key to preventing harm. We may think that we want that resident never to fall, but they may have something else that's more important to them. So maybe the goal needs to be adjusted to reduce falls or to reduce the injury that may be caused if someone were to fall. So encouraging families, encouraging significant others, encouraging staff who that patient or resident feels particularly comfortable with. To give that support for sound decision-making is one avenue that can help to balance that out. Also making sure that we work it into their plan of care and share that plan of care with the resident and their support system, supportive person, so that everyone is aware of what the consequences of their choices may be. I kind of think of it like this. If, the president has a bodyguard, and his job is to keep the president safe. But is he really going to go into bed with the president to keep him safe at night? No. Is he going in the bathroom with the president? No. So there are limits. And so similarly, our residents or patients, they are giving us limits, whether it's a knowledgeable limit that they have accepted a risk for, or because there's a certain level of intolerance, whether because of medical or psychological conditions. So they are given us certain limits, and we can work within that if we look at our organizations not as institutions anymore, but as being agile and flexible, responding to individual needs and rights, and adjusting the goals of care in that shared decision-making process. So what do we really know about the patient and their support systems, their families, and how can we meet them halfway? How can we compromise?
That's great advice, Sandra. Thank you so much. And a very interesting analogy to think about. And I think I heard you say, too, that you work with your residents and families and their significant others over time. So just because they make a decision at one point in time, you kind of keep reevaluating, talking with them to update as needed over time. So I appreciated that as well. Well, thank you all so much for being part of this panel and sharing your great experiences and advice with us today. And with that, I will turn it back to Adrienne.
Thanks so much, Kelly. What an absolutely fantastic panel discussion. Lena, Sandra, Linda, you're really inspiring. Nobody's ever going to forget Sandra's analogy with the president and the bodyguard.
I had to lighten the mood a little bit.
Thank you for sharing so generously with us. Okay, we're going to open the queue for questions and sharing. Remember that you may also ask questions and share via the chat box, and share with each other, please. Chat box is located on the right side of your WebEx screen. If we're unable to get to your question or comment or to answer it during the call, please either add it to chat or email us at help@nhqualitycampaign.org, help@nhqualitycampaign.org. You'll find that in the chat box as well, and we'll forward your question to the appropriate person. Ms. Date, can you get our chat queued up for us, please? I'm sorry, our phone Q&A queued up.
Yes. As a reminder, if you would like to ask a question, press star 1 on your telephone keypad. Again, that is star and the number 1, and we will pause just for a moment. And you do have a question from the line of Allie Thuma. And Allie, your line is open for questions.
Are you on mute, Allie? Okay, we might have lost her. Is there anyone else in the phone queue?
No, ma'am. There are no other questions at this time.
Okay. Keely, is there anything in chat you would like to bring forward?
We have a couple of comments. One comment agreeing with the great example of the President's bodyguard, Sandra. We also had a comment about how the change package is helpful to ombudsman representatives as well. Great point to point out here. And then a comment, being agile and mobile is important in our work. We need to be constantly looking at what we are doing and then have the ability to change what we're doing and how we can improve. If we don't change, we aren't growing, and if we don't grow, we will die. One question, what interventions have been the most successful in implementing discontinuing alarms?
Oh, great question. I think you spoke to that, Lena. Would you be able to answer that question?
Could you repeat the question again?
Certainly. What interventions have been the most successful in implementing discontinuation of alarms?
Oh, okay. So, when we decided that we're going to discontinue the alarm, we actually gathered all our CNAs and talked about it. And then we individualized the plan of care from what time does the person get up, what time does the person want to be turned, is there any time during the day or during the night that the alarm has gone off before? And why is the alarm going off? What did we not do for the patient that the patient or the resident is not comfortable and that they wiggle to make the alarm go off? So upon understanding every single resident and individualize the plan of care and know what they need at a certain time, and writing that up and educating the resident, that was our, educating the CNA and staff, that was our biggest success. We shared the care plan throughout the building. So our housekeepers know the plan of care, our maintenance guys know the plan of care, our laundry person knows the plan of care, nurses, administration, and everybody else in the building. So that was one of our, remarkable success. We also brought in the families, by the way, because at first the family was concerned. And then when they heard that we will know exactly what to do at a certain time, they were happy to support us, nervous at first, but then they realized that we know their loved one more by doing so than waiting for the alarm to go off.
Thank you, Lena.
Welcome.
This is Kelly again, and I see a question. Can you give us an example of how you have implemented one specific section of the change package? Now, I don't know that this means that you have implemented anything very recently. The change package just came out a few weeks ago. But I wonder, Linda, I know you were going to take we're going to take another look at the change package this morning, and were there any of the sections in there that you can think about that you implemented in your organization? I know you've been at your current nursing home for a couple of years now, but did any of those stand out at you as something that you really grabbed onto and made a change when you started at Phoenix Mountain and implemented? I know that's kind of putting you on the spot. If nothing comes right to mind, that's fine. But
that's okay. But one of the biggest thing is when I did start here, they really didn't have a hydration program started. So I know one of them is prevent flu and electrolyte disorders. So we did start a hydration program where we have a hydration cart that our volunteers go around, make sure they know who's on taking liquids and stuff, and started just passing out hydration. It's very important here also in Arizona because it's very easily to get dehydrated in the heat during the summer. So we did start a little bit. It's just small, but it is a change for this facility.
Good example. Thank you. All right, Kaylee, I see that chat is pretty active. Is there anything as you've been scanning that you would like to bring forward? I know we have a few minutes left.
Yeah, one question is I'm wondering if consideration has been given to incorporating the voice of the resident or family members in implementing the change package, and if so, in what way?
I probably could give, this is Lena, I probably could give an example of incorporating a resident's desire and the family as well. So not too long ago, we have a resident who is actually at the end of life. And what he wanted to do is to go to the ball game. And so, we were confronted with how are we going to do this wishes because he really is too weak to go to the ball game. So we called on to the family. What do they think about this last request should he, pass in the very near future? So talking about quality of life and what the resident would like to do, the family had agreed with us that it will be important for him to go to the ball game. So we actually got the ambulance, went to the ball game. He got his favorite beverage when he was there, and he was very happy. And we stayed there probably about a couple of hours. And then when we got back in the building, he was the happiest person. He went to bed, and shortly a day after that, he passed. So quality of life We know that when we took him out, we were probably jeopardizing, would he die during transit because he was pretty sick? But we all agreed that if this is important to him, then we would like to make it happen.
Thank you, Lena. This is Kelly. That's a beautiful example of involving the residents and family in their care and figuring out what matters to them and how to make that happen. I just have one quick comment in response to that question as well about how might you involve residents and families in implementing of the change package or reviewing and implementing a resource such as this. And we had two resident family advisor members on our team to develop the change package. And so I would encourage you all to read, if you haven't already, the section entitled Engage the Resident and Family into Care so they receive desired and safe care. But one of the things that our advisors wanted to develop, that they haven't yet, but I think it's on their list, was some sort of tip sheet or checklist for residents and families, if they have read this over, on how they might actually bring their voice into different phases of this. So I think it's a good question, and I appreciate it. Okay, we have a couple minutes left. Adrienne, do we have time to take any more questions or comments, or do we need to turn it back over to you to wrap up the call?
It looks like we have 2 minutes till the top of the hour. So my suggestion is that we go ahead and wrap up the call, or if you want to just choose one, we could do that. That would be fine. And then we'll do our best to follow up and maybe post some questions and answers, because I think these will be valuable to everybody. Good questions, fantastic answers. So go ahead, Kelly. Take one more.
There is one question that I think is good. Well, they're all good. But there's a question about did you see any, Lena and Sandra, when you eliminated alarms, did you see any reduction in falls or increase in falls? I think that's always a concern, that people think that if they take away the alarms, the audible alarms, that, some bad things might happen. More people might fall, but what did you see with regard to falls when you eliminated alarms?
We actually have reduced falls when we eliminated the alarm.
Okay.
I think that is because we know exactly what the resident is going to do, and so we are ahead of ourselves. So we have some residents who, prior to eliminating the alarm, have fallen off the bed because the roommate's alarm is sounding, and they thought there is a fire. So, they tried to crawl out of bed and then ended up on the floor. When we eliminated the alarm, we actually had a significant reduction in our falls.
Great. Thank you, Lena. This is Kelly, so I know we're going to wrap up here, but I just wanted to let all of you know that the change package, again, is available on the QIOprogram.org website. There's also information on that website about how to identify and access your QIO, Quality Improvement Organization. And the QIOs across the country are available to provide support to you in reviewing and implementing the change package in your quality improvement practices. So, Adrienne, back to you.
Thank you. Let's go ahead and take the next slide. Everybody, thank you for joining us. Next up, please join us also for the rollout of the Campaign Smooth Dementia Care and Psychotropic Medication Management Tracking Tool on the spring MLN call hosted by the Partnership to Improve Dementia Care and QAPI's teams. If you haven't already, please make a note to attend that call. And again, if we're not able to get to your question, email us help@nhqualitycampaign.org. A link to slides were sent with your reminder message. We've had lots of questions about the slides, so on the campaign website, we can help you get to them. And in the next 10 days, approximately, you'll be receiving an email from us with a recording of this event. Thank you all for joining and for everything you do to make long-term care communities, let's go to the last slide, the best places to live, work, and visit.
Thank you for
One
having
more
us.
slide. Yep. There's your resources. Mhm.
Misty, are you there?
And that concludes today's conference call. You may now disconnect. Presenters, please hold the line. Okay, and you are back in the speaker conference.
Great, thank you so much.